Okay, there's only so much time before the release of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm really excited for that game, but I gotta get through Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and the DLC, then I gotta get through 2 and the DLC. There's only so much time left, maybe I'll play Cross. There's nothing that can get in my way. This is all I'm focused on. Alright! That's a game that came out! And I was kind of interested in that. Well, small distraction couldn't hurt, could it? Well, that's ominous. So to start off this video, everything you're gonna see was captured directly from my good old Kingdom Hearts 3 PS4 Pro, which is really not that old. The game just looks janky. Now, I'm by no means good at Soulsborne games. Hell, I only managed to beat Dark Souls 1 a little over 5 years ago. And that was only because I was playing along with a friend, and they helped me with loadout ideas and things like that. So when I heard that Stranger was going to be in the same vein, I was hesitant. But even still, I picked up the controller and gave it a go, because I apparently hate myself. As I was punching my way through the early levels, I really felt like there was a skeleton of a good game buried under all this chaos. I absolutely adore the way that Stranger of Chaos utilized the job system from the early Final Fantasy games, being able to swap between whatever you'd like at a moment's notice, carrying over different unlockable abilities to use throughout the fights, and being able to share skills between them. One of my favorite combinations was actually using the ninja to throw shuriken from a distance and wear down the break gauge, and then using the paladin to really get wrist deep up in a Marlboro. I actually even managed to get a lot of the advanced classes unlocked within the first few missions. Although I don't know if that was because I did literally every single side quest the moment they showed up. Fights were difficult, yes, but incredibly relaxed feeling. But that all changed as I started a mission called To Remember. To Remember is one of those missions that I can't put my finger on exactly why I hated it, except for, well, you know what? Hold on a second. So yeah, things really just got worse from there. I had more hair when I started playing this game. There's already so much hair. Sometimes the difficulty was nice and easy, like, you know, playing the game on casual difficulty. Other times it was like a nice slap in the face. Look, I know you're supposed to have some level of skill when you play a Soulsborne game. That much is obvious. But if you expect perfection from me, game, then I'm going to demand the same perfection from you. There were attacks that spun 180 degrees to hit me literally frames after I had already dodge rolled out of the way. There were attacks that hit when they were nowhere near me. Enemies never seemed to flinch from my basic attacks, but breathing on Jack would send him flying across the arena. Enemies spammed their attacks without pause, and the facial hair effects on Mr. Jack Christmas Wreath himself looked like the fur of a taxidermied cat. Oh, and your 4 elemental friends could either solo a boss all on their own, or act like my insides the moment I have a drop of milk, slowly liquefying into total crap. By the way, I hope you enjoy fighting the same 3 or 4 enemies the entire time, because you are going to fight the same giants, the same skeletons, the same flans, and those same godforsaken bats every level, without fail. They are the exact same. There's not even a palette swap or anything of them. It's literally copied and pasted. Sure, there's at least the occasional Cactar, Tonberry, or Marlboro to break up the monotony, but like, it's just not enough. I can count on 2 hands the number of enemies there are in this game. At least the boss fights were unique in somewhat interesting ways to break up the monotony of punching skeletons in the face over and over and over again. And they even gave you a complete 2 whole ways of fighting each boss and defeating them. We live in the best timeline. Look, strategically using your class skills and soul shield in tandem is a great way to drain their stamina bar over time to take out massive chunks of their health, or you could just whack them in the face over and over again with your sword until they fall over. Oh, and when they fall over, Jack walks over to them like the skull bully himself and forces them to hand over their lunch money. Okay, yes, I know I've gone this far in the video without talking about the reason that we're all here. Jack, Chaos is my daddy Garland. But like, What is there to say that hasn't already been memed? He's your stereotypical toxic alpha male with a toxic personality who lets his female cast members express their emotions because that's the girly thing to do, but walks away from and ignores his male companions the moment they even hint at a semblance of openness. It's played for laughs, but like, not cool, bro, not cool. There is so much more about this game that I want to go in depth on, but I know that if I go on any longer, it'll actually be cyclical. Which is fitting. Jack is a character that's destined to bring about the great darkness of his own world and its own destruction by becoming a facet of the thing that's supposed to bring about the way that he's supposed to be defeated in the future by killing his friends and thus bringing them to who they are. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It's oddly cyclical in nature, and in this game, which is supposed to kind of lead into the first Final Fantasy game, it doesn't even explain it well here. It didn't even explain it well in the original Final Fantasy game for the NES.
The Warriors of Light discover that the four fiends sent Garland, now the Archdemon Chaos, back in time, and then he sent the fiends to the future to do so, creating a time loop by which he could live forever.
For every gripe I have, though, I really enjoyed the game. Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Oranges was just an interesting romp through the world of Final Fantasy I, even when I was getting my ass handed to me. There were plenty of moments where I found myself smiling like a kid again, don't get me wrong. In particular, I actually really enjoy the levels based off of Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy XII. I just thought they had some of the greatest looking level design. And the class system was more akin to Final Fantasy III than I think I was ever expecting it to be. And Final Fantasy III is one of my all-time favorite Final Fantasy games. If there's anything to be learned from this game, it's that you can't keep things like darkness and chaos bundled up inside you, or else you become an extremely aggro macho man. And the co-op? I actually like the co-op a lot. I had my friends Kamiblade, VT, and Dagger join me from time to time. We would grind up our anima crystals, save them up, grind through level 300 missions until we got good armor, and then just go through the 300 level missions until, until we cleared them all. It really worked well. But now, like the ever-continuing cycle of battle that Garland preaches about non-stop, so too must this review come to a close. Man, it feels good to get all that chaos out of my system. Now I can finally focus on some truly masterful JRPGs. Although I don't know what I should focus on next. God, the golden sun is really shining with force today. Oh.